Well, joining us now is the Finance Minister of Punjab, Mr. Manpreet Badal. Mr. Badal, many thanks for joining us. Today is the Bharat Bandh called by farmers. Large protests across the country, but specifically in Punjab and Haryana. Now, you've made it very clear that these protests will continue till there is some sort of intervention on the part of the centre. That doesn't seem to be forthcoming. So what is the strategy going to be on the part of your government?
Well, it is, Shireen, not just the government which is concerned, but individual and ordinary farmers and human beings, not only in Punjab, but all over India. I agree that farmers in Punjab, they are certainly a lot more aware than maybe farmers from Bihar and all. But, all over India, farmers are concerned about the new bills which have become the force of law. And, the minimum, what we had suggested to the government of India, that even if you have to get these ordinances in, if you could just insert one clause.
Right.
And that clause was that government or anybody who's buying from the farmer, whether it's a private trader or a corporate or companies, will buy this crop at the minimum support price. I wonder, this Prime Minister has tweeted, Agriculture Minister has given a statement in the press, but why could not they put this in the bill? I mean, you can't find a bigger or a better example than government going back on its promises than the Finance Minister of Punjab. When GST was being introduced, we had apprehensions that, it will be not in the interest of the state. We were assured that no, in case there are losses, we will compensate you for that. Then we were not still convinced. Then they said, no, this will become part of the GST Compensation Act, and this will be also inserted in the Constitution. We have not received compensation for the last 6 months. In fact, the kind of language which is being used against states which are not coming to heel is almost threatening. So if they can go back on their promises on GST compensation, then this MSP and just tweeting and all, I think I'm not ready to accept this at face value.
Okay, so you're saying that like the GST, where the compensation is a constitutional obligation, at least for a period of 5 years, the first 5 years for the centre to fulfill. Similarly, this must be part of the farm bills that have been passed by government, that MSP will be guaranteed. But, sir, at this point in time, it doesn't look like there is going to be an amendment to this effect moved. The government has, of course, said publicly that MSP is not being done away with and that the MSP will continue when it comes to government procurement. So I ask you specifically, what are the options that you are now exploring? The Finance Minister of Kerala, Thomas Isaac, is saying that the state government will explore the possibility of moving court. What does the government of Punjab intend to do?
Well, the Chief Minister has already spoken on this issue, and we will be going to the Supreme Court, not just considering. We have decided to go to the Supreme Court on the basis of, A, that agriculture is a state subject, and Government of India has no right to legislate on something which is purely a state subject. B, I don't think so. The law would allow one government, and in this case the federal government, to destroy the economy of another government, a state government, in this case the government of Punjab. Allowing private trade, it may sound very nice to you. I'm sure the entire business press and media has welcomed this. But, private trade is not into charity. Punjab, why would you want to tinker with a system which has stood the test of time, where India has not only become self-sufficient in food grain, but also maybe surplus. And something which was going on very well for the last 60 years, had it not been for this poor farmer, you would have been waiting on the seashore for the next American shipment of wheat or paddy. So why would you want to tinker with it? And my own feeling is that FCI has now got almost 6 lakh crores on its books as debt. And Government of India is just trying to pull out of this responsibility of buying food grains and even maybe continuing with the PDS system. You know, they may say that the opposition is opposing for the sake of opposition. This is exactly what they said when this notebandi was introduced. This is exactly what they said when GST was introduced, that people are trying to just oppose for the sake of opposition. Shireen, believe me, the Kisan of India, Bharat, he's a very simple man. But he's not so simple that he will not realize, where his interests lie. It's not about any opposition party or the Congress party or whatever. It is the ordinary Kisan which sees, and he doesn't really have the bargaining power. And let me also give you another perspective that any food grains which you were sold, but they had to be sold in what is known as the mandi yard.
Yeah.
And they couldn't be sold outside the mandi yard. And why in the mandi yard? Because the price discovery could take place in the mandi. And also, once it comes to the mandi, then there is something known as the rural development fee, mandi fee, and so on and so forth. You allow this private corporate trade to come in. And Punjab collects about 4,000 crores of rural development fee. We have a 65,000 kilometers of rural road network, the mandi plins, the sheds, insurance for farmers, all sorts of things. Private trade will come in without any stake in the rural development. They just go and get away. And believe me, at times the Kisan is under pressure. His daughter's getting married.
Sure.
There is some illness in the family.
Yeah.
There is some court case. He needs the money desperately. The harvest is still a month away.
Yeah.
Private people will take advantage of the Kisan.
Well, Mr. Badal, there has been exploitation. There has been exploitation of the farmer even in the current system, and I think that there are checks and balances that are needed in the existing system and in the new system as we move towards it. But to talk about the fact that you have the APMC, you have the existing mandis, there are online e-marketplaces, e-mandis that are now available, an option available to the farmer as well. Will that not aid with more transparent price discovery? Will that not, because of competition, be better for the farmer? So why can't the two systems coexist, sir?
Let me just ask you a counter question. Someone who doesn't have a license, just with a PAN card, he agrees to buy, say, produce of a farmer. What if he doesn't pay him in time? Who will the Kisan go to? This is we don't even know who the man is. What if he doesn't pay him the full price? 80% of the Kisan in India is less than 2 acres. He just doesn't have the bargaining power. Why can't anybody who's in state just get a license?
Right.
Why can't he just pay the rural development fee?
Okay.
Why do you want that something should not come to the mandi? In fact, we've been suggesting to our Chief Minister that this is the way they're going to trust these laws. Why don't we declare the whole of Punjab, every corner, every millimeter of Punjab as a mandi? We have no other choice.
Are you seriously considering that?
We are seriously considering it.
Okay.
So otherwise, how do we get? We will go to the Supreme Court. We will, till the last breath of our life, we will try and, somehow protect the interest of the farmers of Punjab, and this is the Congress viewpoint.
Okay, so you're saying that you are most definitely moving the Supreme Court. That is a decision that has been taken.
That the Chief Minister has already taken.
That the Chief Minister has already made that decision.
The Chief Minister is that declare the whole of the state, every millimeter of the state as a mandi. We want.
Will that have to go through the Assembly, sir? This decision of converting all of Punjab, in your words, every millimeter as part of the mandi, will that have to be a decision that will have to go through the Assembly?
I will have to ask our Advocate General, but even if it has to go to the Assembly, Congress has an overwhelming majority, 80 MLAs out of 117. I'm sure some of the opposition people will also support us. BJP has only 2. They're welcome to oppose.
Okay. Let me ask you about the GST, Mr. Badal, because that's the other big concern and the other flashpoint between the centre and the state. There are 2 developments that have taken place. One, of course, is the CAG report on the GST, which points out certain violations of the manner in which the compensation cess has been collected and used. And secondly, it seems as if 21 states, according to government sources, have decided to go in for option 1 proposed by the centre of the 2 formula for the compensation shortfall. Now, what is it that states like yours intend to do on both these counts?
Well, the first thing where the CAG has given some audit objections in the way money was wrongly transferred into the Government of India account. The CAG report was, this was commented upon by Punjab in its the Goa meeting. Punjab was the one who pointed it out. They first tried to deny it, then they made a GOM. The GOM has not given its, we've only had 2 meetings in the last 11, 12 months. It's an old case. There is no way they can get out of it. This money has to be returned. So that is the Punjab's viewpoint. So as far as the second, you said 21 states have already agreed to Formula 1 or whatever. Well, Punjab hasn't, and so have 10 other states. And, the GST Council was not supposed to run on 21 versus 10. And, we must be consulted. How come they've arrived at this formula? Who worked it out? How are you saying that the losses were only 97,000 crores, and above that you borrow and you take care of your own interest and all? We want these things to be debated. We want to be heard. We have actually pooled in our sovereign, government, right. No, it's not so that just because they have a majority, they can decide whatever. And somehow the tone and tenor is also threatening that either you decide by so on or date, otherwise you will get your compensation in 2022. This is something which is guaranteed to us by the
Mr. Badal, may I interrupt you there? This business about either you accept one of the 2 formulas or you will be paid your compensation only in 2022. Has this been communicated to states by the centre formally?
Well, I've read this in the mainstream media. So I've read this in the mainstream media.
But you haven't, there is no such communication that has formally been made?
I don't know. Maybe my finance secretary would know it.
Okay.
Whether these letters have come or not. But we would want a 3rd formula.
Okay. All right. Mr. Badal?
Yes.
I very quickly want to ask you, sir, when do you intend to move the Supreme Court?
As soon as our legal team is ready.
Okay.
As soon as the drafting is ready.
Okay. So will it be a matter of the next few days?
I should hope so. There's a sense of urgency.
And are you in touch with other states? As I mentioned, Kerala has decided that they will also move the Supreme Court. Are you in touch with other states?
Is it not?
No.
Dr. Thomas Isaac is a friend, but I'm not in touch with him on this issue.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Badal, we will leave it there. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.